do you think about the Reform Act?
I'm going to vote against. I think it's an imperfect conservative bill to deal with Stephen Harper, and I'm sorry, it was an imperfect act to deal with Stephen Harper's time in office. Canadians want to see us moving forward. They want to see us working, and this is a lot of questions and a lot of focus on this former conservative piece of legislation, and so my constituents want to see us getting to work, so let's move on. I support the leader, and I think we all do in this room, and we didn't expect to be here 6 months ago, and it's time to get working for this.
So you're worried about us sending the wrong message if they vote for this?
I don't think it sends a message either way. The Conservative Party adopted it and moved on to the next thing, but again, we need to focus on Canadians, need to focus on the economy, need to focus on moving forward, not internal Liberal caucus dynamics.
But why wouldn't you give yourself the right to do that? You know, a comparison that was made is like, it's like in a marriage. You know, you make an agreement just in case things go wrong, but it doesn't mean things are going to go wrong, right?
It doesn't mean that things are going to go wrong. I think caucus was particularly effective in under the previous Prime Minister, and eventually was brought to the right decision. I think this is, again, time to move forward, and Canadians expect us to do that.
What is it about the act that you oppose specifically, though?
Again, it was created through
but
the
despite
reform.
the Stephen Harper factor, right?
Despite the Stephen Harper factor, but you still have that as the background. That's still how it was created through the Reform Party, not even through the Conservative Party. This is their notions that exist. It takes away the right of our membership. I look forward to robust discussions at the next convention, which is coming up in Montreal. I think there needs to be some serious reforms to the party constitution and give that right to the membership.
And would there be a different option or a better option to give that same kind of power to the council?
I think it's a issue that Canadians came forward in a very short period of time to ensure that Mark Carney was the leader. And we owe it to them to ensure that the party constitution reflects their right and their responsibility and their role if should that decision come, if the marriage breaks down, as the question was asked before. So thank you so much.
Are you supporting the Reform Act?
It's good to be back here to see caucus again.
We support the Reform Act.
On the Reform Act, are you going to vote for it? Or are you
I'm listening to the discussions, but I'm leaning against.
Are you going to vote for or against the Reform Act?
I won't be voting for the Reform Act. I believe we just had a leadership membership race where 85% of our Liberal members from coast to coast to coast made it clear who they want their leader to be, and I think we need to respect that.
Is that what do you have against it? Is that
The rumors of my death were greatly exaggerated.
Apparently they were. So congratulations.
Thank you.
You're going to vote on the Reform Act.
That is correct.
You got some thoughts about it?
I, along with many Canadians, have the utmost confidence in Prime Minister Mark Carney. You know, for me, I know that we as a caucus are very strong. We make our decisions in there. I've come in with a preset mind that I will not be supporting the Reform Act because we don't need to. Our caucus is strong, and we can do what we need to do. If I have a problem with any member of caucus, I can air it in there.
But what happens if you don't have confidence anymore? Like, just like what happened, you've lived it under Justin Trudeau.
I have confidence in Mark Carney, as well as many, many Canadians, and will continue to support the Prime Minister. But that, behind those doors right there, that's our caucus. We can let our hair down at any time and have very frank and open discussions, and that's what I will continue to do. And I know
you let your hair down with Justin Trudeau,
Sure.
and it took months for him to resign, and he wasn't listening to the will of the caucus. So
You know what?
Isn't that a cautionary tale?
You know what? I can tell you that this caucus has existed since 1867, and it's done a great job, and we're going to continue to represent the people. And Mark Carney is by far the greatest leader that we've seen since Lester B. Pearson, which I have the honor now of representing the area where he was in Oklahoma. So I have all the confidence in the world, and if I do have a problem, I'll let him know in there. Speakers race. Wow, there's lots of great names there, and I'm looking forward to their speeches. I'm looking forward to what they have to say. And I know that we're lucky to have so many great candidates from all parties putting their name forward. Well, I can tell you I'm from Sault Ste. Marie, Algoma now, and Rob Oliphant is from Sault Ste. Marie, and obviously He's been a great supporter of steel and a number of things, so I will be throwing my support behind Rob. Merci.
Oui. Mais on va en parler justement au caucus. C'est là que ça va se décider et c'est là que ça va se discuter.
Mais sur le principe même du Reform Act, le
Ouais.
Jacques enseigne.
Non, c'est une bonne discussion qu'on va avoir au caucus. Ça, c'est une discussion qu'on a hâte d'avoir.
Oui, exactement. Écoutez, je pense que les Québécois, les Canadiens, nous on est en mode solution. Les Québécois, les Canadiens nous ont envoyé un message fort. Ils veulent qu'on travaille sur les enjeux, la crise du logement, bâtir l'économie de demain, le coût de la vie. Alors je pense que c'est des discussions qu'on va avoir cet après-midi. C'est ça l'important.
Sur l'idée du Reform Act, est-ce que c'est au caucus de décider que le chef a fait son temps et doit quitter ou c'est davantage aux militants?
Bien, comme dit Caroline, on va parler de ça, évidemment, mais on va parler de beaucoup d'autres choses aujourd'hui. Et ça fait partie des procédures sur lesquelles le caucus va devoir statuer. Maintenant, quelle va être la décision du caucus? Ce sont des discussions qui appartiennent au caucus et c'est ce qu'on va voir dans quelques minutes.
Je sais qu'il n'y a pas de budget au printemps, pas de mise à jour économique. Est-ce que vous le comprenez que les gens aimeraient peut-être en ce moment avoir un portrait des finances publiques dans les perturbations qui en ont pas?
Ce qu'on comprend, c'est qu'il y a effectivement beaucoup d'incertitudes, y compris d'incertitudes économiques, qu'on aimerait en savoir davantage. C'est là-dessus qu'on va travailler au cours des prochaines semaines et des prochains mois. Et un budget va être déposé à l'automne, avec des bons chiffres, parce qu'il ne faut pas n'importe quel chiffre. On prend des chiffres qui soient les plus proches possibles de la réalité. Et durant les prochaines semaines, comme le ministère des Finances a besoin de le faire, bien, le travail va être sérieux et rigoureux et prêt pour l'automne prochain. Merci.
Rentrée parlementaire, comment vous vous sentez?
Je suis très excité.
Oui.
De nouveaux collègues. Voulez-vous que j'aille là? Non. De nouveaux collègues, une nouvelle équipe, un nouveau premier ministre. Je pense qu'on est fébrile, on est excité et on a beaucoup de choses à accomplir.
Qu'est-ce que vous pensez du Reform Act? Est-ce que vous allez voter pour ou contre?
Je sais que c'est un enjeu du caucus. Tout ce qui se passe au caucus, par définition, c'est à l'interne.
Sur le principe, vous dire ce que vous en pensez?
Écoute, c'est obligé. On est obligé de répondre aux exigences de la loi. C'est ce que nous allons faire. That it's the law of the land and the caucus will be dealing with its responsibilities. The Reform Act, look, anything that happens in the caucus is by definition private, and that will be taken up by the caucus as is prescribed by the law.
Mais pensez-vous que ce serait légitime, que c'est légitime de la part du caucus de demander à un chef de quitter ou ça devrait revenir davantage aux militants?
Je suis un député parmi 170 à peu près députés libéraux. On va tous se prononcer sur les 4 questions qui sont prescrites par la loi sur la réforme.
How are you going to keep the House of Commons running on track? Last Parliament, you don't want to be derailed the agenda several times.
Yeah.
Some people pass a lot of bills. How do you prevent that from happening?
Well, we are a minority government, so that obviously means that we need to attract support from all sides of the House to get anything done. At the same time, we believe very, very clearly that Canadians have given us a mandate, and I think it will be incumbent on all parties to respond to that mandate, to read very clearly that mandate. Canadians expect action, they expect results, and that's what we intend to give them. J'ai eu des bonnes conversations avec l'ensemble des oppositions, conservateurs, Bloc québécois, j'ai parlé au chef du NPD, j'ai parlé à Mme May également, donc on a tendu la main de la collaboration et c'est ce que nous allons continuer de faire pendant ces 4 semaines. I've spoken to all of the opposition, Mr. Scheer, I've spoken to Mme Normandin, I've spoken to Ms. May and Mr. Davies, and we will obviously continue to extend the hand of collaboration, and we want to get results for Canadians. We want to give them the opportunity to do that. Thank you. Merci.
Ça va être des discussions qu'on va avoir, mais je pense qu'on a un gros mandat pour du changement. Pour les Canadiens avec M. Carney, on vient de passer une élection, donc c'est plus ça qui m'intéresse pour aujourd'hui. Merci beaucoup. Thank you. I'm just looking forward to bring about the change that we've promised in the last election. I think the mandate that we've been given by Canadians, so I'm looking forward to that.
Est-ce que c'est une bonne idée de se donner ce droit-là?
Moi, j'étais contre par le passé et ma position n'a pas changé.
OK.
Merci.
Reform Act. What do you think? You got some pros and cons?
We're going to have a good discussion about it today.
And what would you be arguing in
Of
favor
course, I
of?
do. I'm running for speaker, and I've decided that I'm going to be in a listening mode.
Give us the 30-second speaker pitch. Why you?
I think I've been in opposition. I understand the role of opposition. I've been in government. I know the role of government. A good opposition makes a good government. A good government helps the opposition. I think I can use a sense of humor. I can use my experience, and I can use good judgment. And also I can be both firm and fair. I can be very firm, but I also can enjoy the moment. So if I've got someone who sits with me, it's Peter Milliken will sit on my shoulder, and Peter Milliken could simply drop his head, raise his eyebrow, and we paid attention. You have to trust the speaker. You have to have confidence in the speaker. You have to respect the speaker. I hope that the House will see that in me.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Your mind's open.
I'm going to listen to what colleagues say. I see arguments for and against, and we'll see what happens.
Do you think it will be, like there's a legitimate chance that the Reform Act passes in this?
I haven't polled on it, David,
Okay.
but we'll see how it goes. Look, I think certainly the experience of the past few months stands out, but there's an opportunity here to remake how caucus is done.
Yep.
For example, one of the questions on my mind will be whether the caucus chair, or new caucus chair, and I'm supporting James Maloney in this, will regularly be meeting with the Prime Minister. That's how it used to take place.
Yep.
For whatever reason, that went away under Justin Trudeau. But I think that we have an opportunity to do things differently, and certainly one of the reasons I'm supporting James is because he will absolutely make sure that caucus is well represented and that the Prime Minister and PMO know the view of caucus.
Okay, do you think it should be a secret ballot?
What's that?
Do you think it should be a secret ballot? Or
We'll discuss that inside.
Yeah,
Again,
what do
my mind's open on it.
Fair enough.
Look, I think there's nothing wrong with showing your colleagues what you think, but I can see arguments for the secret ballot too. So we'll see.
I like James as a caucus chair.
I think
who
he'd
else
be
is
excellent.
Eddie, do you know who?
I'm not sure. I've heard some names, but
We'll find
it'll
out.
all be revealed in there.
I know. Well,
Okay?
we won't be there. You'll get to know.
Perfect. No, it'll be a good meeting for sure.
Okay.
Nice to see
Thank you,
you.
Peter.
Take care.
Appreciate it.
I'll definitely be supporting the Reform Act. I think it's important to have caucus accountability in every party, and I believe that it's important in our party. I have the scars from the past where I think we haven't necessarily always been taken seriously, and I think it's important. This is by no way a reflection on the confidence that we have or that I have in the current leadership. This is not about Mark Carney's leadership. We have full confidence in our leader, but I do believe in caucus accountability.
What about the chair of the caucus? Same sort of thing, because that's another important post for caucus.
Well, it's all part of the 4 different measures that are included in the Reform Act provisions, and I think that's another important one, and I believe that that's an important accountability measure as well.
Would you have a choice, someone you'd like to see as a caucus chair? You got anybody?
I'm going to be voting for James Maloney. I think he's going to be a great caucus chair.
Person I just heard who said James.
He's a popular guy. He's been our Ontario caucus chair in the past, and he's done a fantastic job, and I'll be voting for him. Thank you very much.
I'm anxious to hear what they have to say inside the room.
Do you like the idea of balancing?
I'm going to, the vote is secret, and I'm going to keep it that way.
Just the idea, though, that do you think it's important to somehow balance the power of caucus versus the power of the leader's office? That might have got a bit out of balance with the last leader. Okay. Yep. I do. Yep. Okay. Thank you.
I think it's important to have these types of conversations. We're going to go into a room. We're going to have a conversation around what's the best approach, but I think it's a very valid conversation to have.
Where did you think the balance got out of shape versus caucus versus the leader's office with the last leader?
No, I just think that we should always review processes and figure out what's the best way to approach a situation where a caucus or the party in general wants to go in one direction and perhaps others want to go in the other direction. So I'm open-minded. I'm going to go and listen to the different points of views, make up my mind inside. Thanks. James Maloney.
Je sais pas, ce qui se passe, moi, vous connaissez ma devise, ce qui se passe au caucus reste au caucus. Et puis j'ai hâte de voir l'autre jour.
Allez-vous rester président du caucus?
Oui, je reste président du caucus Québec.
The whole team is very excited about coming back. We're very excited about ensuring that
our Prime Minister succeeds, and he's a welcome addition and a great leader in terms of what we're happening next. So I think the discussion around the table will be great.
But based on the Trudeau experience, would it not be a good idea to maybe have those powers just in case?
You know, I think it's important, and I think ultimately the decisions on these things are made by the membership, by the Assembly, not by necessarily any caucus member. It's got to be made by the broader good. And certainly Carney has proven himself to be the one that's the proven one, the one that's the choice that the Liberal Party has. Going forward, no one should be omnipotent, no one should be all-powerful, and we recognize that. I think Mark Carney sees that too. What's important though is we support Mark Carney, we support where we're heading, and I'm very excited, as are my colleagues.
And who do you want to see as chair?
Listen, I have a soft spot for James Maloney because he's my neighbor, and he's been a friend. He's very engaged in the issues that matter to all of us, and he's enthusiastic about the opportunity. So he's my choice. Take care, guys.
Thank you.